Hello, it's time for a little math this morning. I would like to work through the even problems with you from Ready to Go On, Chapter 11 on page 482. And as we're doing this today, I would like you to write the problem and then pause the video and give it a try, then turn the video back on and see if you're correct. And it'll be kind of fun for today. So let's give it a try. Number 2. First, we're going to write down the problem. Number 2, 15 plus y over 3 equals 6. Our variable is y. We're going to want to subtract 15 from both sides, but first I'm going to make sure I write it twice. I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. 15 minus 15 is 0. I'm left with y over 3 equals 6 minus 15. What's the difference between 6 and 15? It is 9, and the sign of the number that appears larger is negative, so we know that it equals negative 9. Now, y is being divided by 3, so the inverse of that in order to isolate the variable is to multiply it by 3 over 1. If I multiply the left, I have to multiply the right. The 3's cancel out. I'm left with y over 1, which is y. Negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. I can put negative 9 over a 1 to make it numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. Our answer, y equals negative 27 divided by 1, gives me negative 27. That is number 2. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is negative 33 equals negative 7a minus 5. So my variable is a, and I first need to get rid of the negative 5, which is in the way of the variable being by itself. So I'm going to add 5. Minus 5 plus a 5 is going to bring me to 0. If I add it to the right, I need to add it to the left. I have 33 and 5, and I need to know the difference between 33 and 5, which is going to be 28. And it's going to be a negative 28 because I've got 33 negatives and I add 20 and I add 5 to it, brings me up to negative 28. The difference between 33 and 5 is 28. The sign of the number that appears to be larger is negative. So negative 28 equals negative 7a. A is my variable. It's being multiplied by a negative 7, so now I'm going to divide it by a negative 7. If I divide the left, I have to divide the right. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. 1 times a is a. Negative 28 divided by negative 7 is 4. 28 divided by 7 is 4, and negative divided by a negative is positive. So our answer for number 4 is 4. Let's move on to number 6. Let's see here. Number 6. Negative 13 minus 11. Excuse me, I can't read the book. Negative 13 equals, oh my goodness, 11 minus 2n. There's a glare in here under the lights. So I want to get my variable alone on the right-hand side. So I've got to get rid of that negative 2n. To get rid of the negative 2n, I'm going to add 2n. Scratch that. Let's go back here. Sorry, Mrs. Lynn's messing up. I want to get the 2n by itself, so I got to get rid of the 11. So a positive 11 is in the way of the negative 2n, so I'm going to subtract 11 from the right. If I subtract 11 from the right, I have to subtract 11 from the left. So these cancel out. 11 minus 11 is 0, so I am left with negative 2n by itself. Then I have 13 negatives, and I'm going to add another 11 negatives, so I have negative 24. And I need to solve now for n. It's being multiplied by a negative 2, so the inverse operation is to divide it by a negative 2. If I divide the right, I've got to divide the left. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. 1 times n is n. Negative 24 divided by negative 2 is 12. 24 divided by 2 is 12, and negative divided by a negative is a positive. So your answer for number 6 is n equals 12. Let's go to number 8. Number 8 says p over negative 8 minus 7 equals 12. I'm going to rewrite the problem. And I've got p divided by negative 8 minus 7 equals 12. I want to get rid of this negative 7. So the inverse of a negative 7 is a positive 7. Add it to the left, I have to add it to the right. Now I'm left with p over negative 8 equals 19. 12 plus 7 is 19. Negative 7 and a positive 7 makes 0. Now I have p divided by negative 8 equals 19. The inverse of divided by negative 8 is multiply by a negative 8. If I multiply the left, I've got to multiply the right. These cancel out, negative 8 and negative 8 cancel out. I'm left with p over 1. P divided by 1 is p equals 19 times a negative 8, which equals 152. Negative 152 over 1 is negative 152. So p equals negative 152. Makes sense? Now we're ready for number 10. A taxi service charges an initial fee of $1.50 plus $1.50 for every mile. Okay. Traveled. A taxi ride costs $21. How many miles did the taxi drive? So they want to know how many miles did this person travel in the taxi if their total bill was $21. So we have $1.50 for the initial setup fee plus $1.50 times every mile equals $21. First, we got to get rid of this $1.50. If we subtract it from the left, we have to subtract it from the right. I'm left with $1.50 a mile equals 1950. 1950, 20, 21. So $1.50 for per mile for 1950. So we got $1.50 M equals $19.50. We're just solving this equation now using all the practice steps we used in 1 through 9. M, we want to get it by itself, so we're going to have to divide by $1.50. And we're going to divide that 1950, which is the original cost of 21 minus the typical setup fee, the initial fee. 1950 divided by $1.50 is 13 miles. This taxi ride was 13 miles. So $21 to drive 13 miles. All right, number 12. Number 12 is 3 times the quantity of 3b plus 2 equals negative 30. I'm going to rewrite my problem. Notice the first thing that you see is that you have the distributive property going on. So we want to distribute this 3, the parentheses are the big key right there, 3 to the 3b and 3 to the 2 by multiplication. So 3 times 3b is 9b plus 3 times 2 is 6 equals negative 30. And now we can go back to, this looks very similar to the problems we did on numbers 1 through 9. We're going to subtract 6 from the left, subtract 6 from the right. 9b equals negative 30 plus a negative 6. If I have 30 negatives and I add 6 more negatives, I'm at negative 36. Want to solve for b, it's being multiplied by 9, so I'm going to divide by 9. If I divide the left, I have to divide the right. And we know that 9 times 4 is 36, so 36 divided by 9 is 4. You're dividing a negative by a positive, so we know our answer is negative. How you doing so far? Did you give up and quit pausing? Number 14. This one is 24.6 plus 3a over 4 equals 9.54. You're going to want your calculator for this one. So go ahead and make sure you have that out. And it will help you with this one. All right, so first thing we've got to see, I'm going to rewrite it. The first thing we got to get out of the way is that divide by 4. What's the inverse of divide by 4? Multiply by 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4 over 1. If I multiply the left, I have to multiply the right. These cancel out. The 4's cancel out, and I'm left with 24.6 plus 3a over 1, which is just itself, which is 24.6 plus 3a equals 9.54 times 4. 9.54 times 4 equals 38.16. Now I can isolate this 3a. I got to get rid of the 24.6. If I subtract it from the left, I have to subtract it from the right. And if I take my calculator and I subtract, I get 3a equals 13.56. 38.16 minus 24.16 is 13.56. Divide by 3, so I can solve for a on both sides. 3a divided by 3 is a, equals 13.56 divided by 3 is 4.52. And that is my answer. A equals 4.52. Number 16. 16 is 13 equals 2c plus 3 plus 5c. And what we want to do is combine our like terms. The first thing we want to do is add our 2c and our 5c together. So we have 13 equals 2c plus 5c gives us 7c plus 3. Get rid of the plus 3 by saying minus 3. If I subtract 3 from the right, I've got to subtract 3 from the left. And I'm left with 13 minus 3 is 10 equals 7c. I want to solve for c. It's being multiplied by 7. The inverse operation is to divide by 7. If I divide the right, I have to divide the left. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 times c is c equals 10 over 7. Or you could divide that out. 7 goes into 10 once. There's a remainder of 3 and the denominator is 7. So either of those answers will work for C, 10 over 7 or 1 3/7. Number 18. Oh, these are so fun. Aren't they fun? Aren't you having fun? I mean, really, it's fun. Number 18, 1.2s. Plus 3.69 over 0.3 equals 47.9. You're going to need your little handy-dandy calculator again. And I'm going to rewrite this. And the thing to remember is that you got to get rid of that 0.3, divide by 0.3. So what's the inverse of divide by 0.3? Multiply by 0.3. So I'm going to multiply by 0.3 over 1. And if I multiply the left, I have to multiply the right. Okay? Now these are going to cancel. So I'm left with 1.2s plus 3.69 equals, do it on your calculator, 47.9 times 0.3 equals 14.37 over 1. Which is simply 1.2s plus 3.69 equals 14.37. I want to get rid of the 3.69. If I subtract it from the left, I've got to keep it balanced and subtract it from the right. 1.2s equals 14.37 minus 3.69 equals 10.68. Now I want to solve for s. It's being multiplied by 1.2, so I'm going to divide the left and the right by 1.2. On your calculator, 10.68 divided by 1.2 equals 8.9. S equals 8.9. 9. Let me check to make sure we have that correct in the book, and we do. Whoop, whoop. Okay, let's move on to the next. Whoa, what's happening here? All right, we're ready for number 22. Number 22, 12m equals 3m plus 108. I want to get all the like terms on the same side, so I'm going to first move my 3m to be with the 12m. I could move the 12m over here, but then I would also have to move the 108. So I'm going to move my 3m, subtract 3m from the right, subtract 3m from the left, and it becomes 9m equals 108. And then I'm going to solve for m by dividing by 9. And if I divide the left by 9 and I divide the right by 9, I am going to get m equals 12. 22, m equals 12. Number 24. 1.2x plus 3.7 equals 2.2x minus 4.5. So I'm going to move my x's around, and I'm going to have to move my 3.7 and my negative 4.5 around as well. I'm going to move my x in a manner that it won't make it negative. So if I subtract 2.2 from the right side and from the left side, I'm going to end up with a negative x. So I'm going to subtract my negative 1.2 from the left and then from the right. So I'm going to be left with 3.7 equals 1x. 2.2 minus 1.2 is going to be 1x minus 4.5. Now I want to get rid of the negative 4.5. I'm going to add 4.5 to the right, and I'm going to add 4.5 to the left. This is going to give me 8.2 equals x. Number 24, x equals 8.2. Number 26. You have a negative 2.3q plus 16 equals negative 5q minus 38. And again, I'm going to look and see which way can I move my q's so that I keep a positive variable. And it's not a big deal, it just saves you a step in the long run. So I am going to add 5q to the right and add 5q to the left. And I can check on my calculator, I can find out what the difference is between 5 and 2.3, which is 2.7, and then the sign of the number that appears larger is positive. So we know our new difference is 2.7q plus 16 equals negative 38, because negative 5q and positive 5q come up to be 0. Now I'm going to subtract 16 from the left, and I'm going to subtract 16 from the right, and I'm going to have 2.7q equals 38 plus 16 is going to be 54. Negative 54, that is, and I'm going to divide by 2.7, divide by 2.7, and I'm going to have q equals 54 divided by 2.7 is going to be 20. So our answer is negative 20. Q equals negative 20. And I checked the book and we are correct. Number 28. Negative 19m plus 12 equals negative 14m minus 8. Rewrite that problem. And I'm going to add 19m here. to the left, and then I'm going to add it to the right. 19m, negative 19m, and positive 19m come to 0. I'm left with 12 equals. What's the difference between 19 and 14? It is 5. The sign of the number that appears larger is positive, so our answer is 5m minus 8. Then I'm going to add 8 to the right, add 8 to the left, and I get 20 equals, 5m. Now I want to solve for 5m. I'm going to divide by 5, divide by 5. M equals 4. Number 30. (8.9) minus 3.3j equals negative 2.2j plus 2.3. So I'm going to add, well, first I'm going to rewrite the problem. I want to add my 3.3j because if I add that, I'm going to end up with a positive number for my variable. So negative 3.3 and 3.3j, they cancel out to be 0, and I'm left with 8.9 equals 1.1j plus 2.3. I'm going to subtract 2.3 from the right, subtract 2.3 from the left. These cancel out, and I'm left with 1.1j equals 8.9 minus 2.3, and I get 6.6. 6.6 equals 1.1j. Divide both sides by 1.1, and you're going to get 6. J equals 6. Number 30, j equals 6. All right, what I would like you to do is I want you to do the challenge problems. And the challenge problems are numbers 20 and 32. And you can send those. Those are not due until Monday. That would be Monday the 20th. Okay, so those two problems are your challenge problems. Please send a picture of your work, upload it at assignments.sister.com, and show me all of your work that we just went through on this assignment. Thanks so much.